Welcome back to Small Caps, ladies and gentlemen. Back to my favourite commodity, and that would be gold. Southern Cross Gold, no less today. ASX code is SXG. Joining me today is Michael Hudson, the Managing Director. And boy, have they been putting out the results and getting some really interesting news flow, because I think last time I spoke to Michael a couple of months ago, he promised us continuous news flow, and he has been delivering in spades or shovels. Michael, good to see you.
Hi, Kerry. Lovely to be back.
Thanks for coming back to Small Caps. Last time we spoke about Hole 33. You've only been listed for 3 months, I think, and you certainly hit the ground running and coming up with, discoveries and really interesting mineralisation. So before we get into detail, give us the brief overview for those that may have been sitting under a rock.
Okay, so we listed Southern Cross, as you said, 3 months to the day, or May 16th was our listing date, and since then we've come out like a rocket. The stock has traded so very well based on amazing results that we've been able to continually deliver from the Sunday Creek project in Victoria, and we've got a tiger by the tail. We've increased our drill capacity by a lot since we last spoke, and we're looking to increase it further. We're a bunch of discoverers. We've done it before, and we're doing it again here. And it's just a great story in my backyard after being away for so many years from Australia. I'm having a lot of fun.
Oh, that's good to hear. And you have come up with some great results. Talk to us about, has this surprised you to the upside? And do you think, you've only been listed for 3 months, you're getting some great results. Talk to us about those results. And is it surprising you exactly what sort of grade and how the scale of this project could potentially become?
Yes. So I suppose I should say that as an exploration geologist, you're always trying to prove those in the past wrong in some way, because you've got the optimism to say, well, I can make this something, we can make this something. So that's one side of an exploration geologist's mind. The other side is, thank goodness it's working. and the thesis is being tested. And so it's that mix of optimism and confidence, and with a bit of humility thrown in. I can say that absolutely I'm surprised on the upside. I mean, this deposit, this project is continuing to throw up great results. We've demonstrated widths that you don't see in Victoria and really haven't seen in the space in the last 100 years. We're seeing extremely high grades, multiple zones of high grades, and then when we're seeing that continuity between the high grade and the width, so the shoots are stacking up. So the key point there is this system is predictable. It's not necessarily easy. Structurally hosted gold is not easy, but it's predictable, and that is what I think, as a technical person, makes me more excited than anything, because you can drill gold in lots of places around the world, and I have, but it doesn't always stack up, and it's not as predictable. And you go, oh my goodness, I expected it to be there and it's not. But really, we're finding it where we expect to see it, and then we're finding it where we don't even expect to see it in this deposit. So that gives you some sort of confidence internally, at least, that there's a lot more to be found here.
Mike, you just mentioned that you've found gold in lots of different places around the world. You're an exploration geologist. What was it about Sunday Creek that made you think, oh, this could be something big here? Because there's a lot of people exploring and looking for gold in Victoria, and we'll come on to Fosterville in a minute. But I just want to know, what was it about Sunday Creek that got your interest?
Well, there was a set of results there. It had about 5,000 meters of drilling looking around the oxide zone. So that's a typical Victorian story. It's typical to what Fosterville was, what Fosterville was, oxide deposits that hadn't been tested to depth. And there was some very good hits in and around that surface drilling, if you like, that really hadn't tested to depth. And the system was open from old mining over 10 kilometres. Now, we've only ever seen 1 kilometre of that 10 kilometres still drilled today. So the scale, the initial hits, and and even the first hole we put in was, oh my goodness, there's so much more gold outside the very highest grades that the old timers mined. So there was a halo of what they considered waste, which was 2 to 5 grams for us, which is far from waste. Remembering the average gold mine today averages 1 gram, and those deposits that are unmined are less than a gram. So 2 to 5 grams is far from waste in a modern day. So that was the initial indication, scale and grade.
You mentioned Fosterville a moment ago, and I hope this is okay to ask you. I remember back in the day when, before Fosterville became Fosterville, people were, I guess, a little bit wary and saying, oh, you're not going to find this sort of gold. But now Fosterville is a great success story. Do you think that Sunday Creek has got the same attributes as a Fosterville style deposit?
Every Victorian wants to be another Fosterville, and it's brought hundreds of millions of dollars of exploration outside of Fosterville to Victoria, yeah. and we should be very thankful for Fosterville's success. It is the highest grade gold mine, underground gold mine on Earth today, and has been for the last 3 or 4 years. Even though the head grade's coming off a bit, it's still number one. So it is a great analogue, and you referenced that maybe 6 or 7 years ago was when that changed. It was a fairly tough asset going back over the last 20 years before its success. So it found zones that were high grade and free gold as opposed to refractory gold. We have free gold here from surface. The old timers wouldn't have been mining below the oxide if it wasn't free gold. So
what do you mean? Sorry, Michael. What do you mean by free gold? I mean, I'd love some free gold, thanks, Michael.
Yes, free gold. I'll hand it out. No, it doesn't. It means metallurgically, it's can be recovered by simply gravity or by cyanidations. Here, in this case, it would be gravity. So it's not bound up or locked up in other minerals, which require a lot more chemistry and energy to grind it out. So cheaper, easier extractable gold. So that's the old timers only had gravity and a gold pan to find their gold. So if it was locked up in other minerals, they couldn't mine it. And that's what Fosterville was until 7 or 8 years ago. It was refractory gold. It wasn't free gold. And what we have here is at least in a large part free, because the old timers were mining it down to depth. They never mined to depth in Fosterville because of that issue. So it took a lot of smarts in the early 2000s for Fosterville to be mined. But getting back to your question, there is 2 very different orogenic events in Victoria that produced all the gold, and Victoria is supersonic. There's not many better fields on Earth, and it's had 2 orogenic events, big mountain building events that have formed the gold. The first one was Ballarat and Bendigo, and that's where 80 million ounces has essentially come from. But that's a style that's not as amenable in a modern sense. It's nuggety. There's another technical term, but more like raisins in a plum pudding. So when you hit the raisin, bang! But there's lots of area between the raisins where you can't put the gold together.
Right.
And then there's the Fosterville, Costerfield, Sunday Creek styles. There's 9 historic mining areas in Victoria that are that second style. We call them epizonal. We've got 3 of those areas, those 3 epizonal fields. And Sunday Creek is obviously become our flagship. Geologically, therefore, yes, it's an analogue. It's the same orogenic event. It's got the same morphology and mineralogy. Every deposit or project is a variation on a theme, but it's very, very similar to Costerfield and Fosterville. There's no doubts in the technical literature or technical thinking that these are analogues. So what you get economically then is the big prize on analogue. And if you look at the dimensions now of some of the successfully mined areas and the new Fosterville, if you like, we're very much on a par in terms of what we're drilling out in terms of scale. And we put in the last press release the dimensions of our chutes and veins and at the grades that we're getting them. So yes, there's comparable scale and comparable analog. And then the dream, of course, is that we start to see the very, very, very high grades that Fosterville's had, and we're seeing them at thinner levels, and this system could develop to become better. And then the last analogue is that our deeper holes are the best holes in the deposit, and that's how Fosterville got better and how Fosterville is getting better. These systems tend to improve at depth, and there's no fluke for that to happen, that the gold-rich parts of the system will form by nature at depth, at deeper levels where they become less antimony rich, which is another key part of this story. So yes, there's a whole lot of technical reasons and then a lot of anticipation around those analogues.
Talk to us about some of the results and talk to us about the drilling that you've done to date.
Yeah, so we've drilled about 10 kilometres in this system in Sunday Creek over the last 18 months. There's been about 5,000 metres before from the 90s that was drilled into it, mainly looking for the oxide. So the way it's progressed is we drilled just below that oxide and started to take steps down, and we've drilled it down to 400 metres over about an 800 metre trend to date. And as I said, the better holes are at depth, but now we're starting to understand and that predictability. So one key hole was hole 33, which was 119 metres at 3.9 grams gold equivalent, which had about 3 very high grade zones, up to 50 metres thick, getting towards the 6 or 7 grams at those sort of widths. And the drill widths are about 60 to 70% true width. So we're drilling across these structures. So that was one of the best drill holes. And then this last release we put out a week or so ago demonstrated continuity over about 100 metre zone within the plane of one of these chutes. So we've drilled out over 800 metres, and I'm talking about chutes within that 800 metres. We've drilled at least 5 of these chutes, not just the one with the key drill hole in it. And we've tested maybe 5 to 10% of the area. So there'll be many of these chutes that we find as we drill more. So we're finding scale, continuity and grade, and then lots of repeatability of structure. And that's only over 800 metres. Again, I sound like a bull in a china shop, but remembering this system extends for 10 kilometres, and 9 of those 10 kilometres hasn't seen a drill hole, even though the old timers mined over those distances along that trend.
Do you, Michael, it's you talk about the chutes. Do you look for where the source is? Because is that like the really rich pudding it's got to have come from somewhere. Do you look for that as well?
You've been studying geology, obviously, in your long term here in this business, Kerry. There's 3 things that really matter in forming a deposit, and every geologist will tell you this: source, transport, and trap. So source is key, but really, that can be lots of different things. Transport, so you need good faults or structure to bring a deposit or those fluids from the source into that one location. And then a trap just means that it's a very effective sponge, basically. And really the last point is the key one. Have we got that effective sponge where these minerals will accumulate? And certainly the source question goes to what I just referred to before. These deposits, these epizonal deposits, are zoned like a telescope, I suppose, as you sort of extend it. They're more gold antimony rich near the surface, and then they become more gold rich at depth. And that's because it's getting hotter, and the gold only part of the system will drop out at those hotter fluids, so at that hotter part of the system. So yes, it does matter, but it doesn't matter whether this is a granite that was at depth producing this gold or not. It really just matters that it's there in an economic sense. But geologists like to pontificate about what that source may be.
I love the fact that you're so excited about this, and that you're going, what, Kerry, we are delivering. What I want to find out now is what's next. I'm talking to you mid-August 2022. What's Southern Cross Gold going to be doing for the rest of this year? Have you got funds? Where are you going? How many rigs? How busy are you? Pretty busy by the sounds of it.
Bloody busy. And as we should be, because I know that discoveries have a use by date in the minds of investors. So you've really got, when you're onto a discovery, you really go for it. And we got $7 million in the bank today. So we've got the cash to execute on the strategy, which is to make this bigger and work towards a resource. We need to demonstrate in the minds of, I think, those who've only seen us over the last 3 months, that this is more than a 1 or 2 hole hit. This has got 1,500 gram meter intersections with 15 kilometers of drilling, which is an amazing success rate. 100 gram meters is the width times the grade, and 3 of those, as I've said before, I'm sure to you too, in the eyes of Newmont, the largest gold company in the world, is a bona fide discovery. So to have 15 of them today at this early stage shows the quality of the system. So where are we going? Money to execute. We've increased the drilling capacity since we last spoke by 250%. So we brought 3 crews on. We had 1 crew before. It's all about people. It's not just about rigs. So now we have 2 rigs, but they're crewed by three different shifts. So we've actually increased the drilling capacity by 250%. We're not going to stop there. We need more drill capacity to make it larger and work towards that resource of understanding, the understanding to build the resource, I should say, and continue to demonstrate that this is the key discovery outside those known mines in Victoria, with some of the better grades that you'll find in an Australian or worldwide discovery.
Michael Hudson, you've been around for a while. You've found gold deposits before. In terms of, I guess, your history in this industry, is this probably one of the most exciting ones that you've been involved with? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but certainly you seem pretty head up, I guess, about it. So how would you rate it?
Yeah, we've got the tiger by the tail, so I am excited without a doubt. I mean, this is a system developing very nicely. I'd put it up there absolutely with one of the best, if not the best, discoveries so far. Let's get the resource and let's make this 1 million ounces, 2 million ounces and more, right? And then I'll be more definitive, because but in terms of the stage of discovery, with a relatively small amount of drilling, I haven't seen such hit rates and I haven't seen such grades, is the truth. And I've worked right through South America and Europe and Australasia, and I've seen a lot of projects, but just the indications at this early stage make me justifiably very excited. What challenges, if anything, do you have with this deposit? I mean, sometimes gold deposits can be challenging, or is this a fairly simple system and it's just a matter of drilling it out? No, it's always challenging, Kerry. One of the big reasons we've succeeded here so far is that we've used orientated diamond drilling. So that's been a key way of understanding this structurally hosted gold. And I think I said at the start of the interview, it's not simple but predictable. So absolutely, the detail and understanding of the orientation of all those structures that we can now get routinely through technological improvements in drilling and ability to record structures in 3 dimensions from just a little cylinder of rock has been the breakthrough. So no, it's not simple, but that's one challenge. But I think the predictability is very good, and then we're finding where we're not expecting it to at times. So the frequency is good. The other challenge, of course, and it will be in the minds of everybody, is it's in Victoria. So what are we doing to counter that? Now, we've got 2 of the top 10 highest grade gold mines operational in our backyard, being Fosterville and Fosterville. So there is a known industry still here. We're producing more gold here than we have in 100 years. So mines are operating. You must be on your number one game here in Victoria. We've purchased the 320 acres freehold over the project area. So that will secure our rights of future access, because we're the landholder, and we're working very closely with the Tangerang, which is the native title group who basically have their rights over the central part of Victoria, which are all our projects, and giving them the respect that they deserve, and they'll share as we go forward. And they're doing a lot of our work for us. So you must be on your number one game and just not finding gold. I mentioned briefly the antimony. There is a palpable opportunity here for Victoria and this project specifically to really offset the 82% of antimony that comes from China and Russia. And this is a defense game. This is a technological game that the Western world needs raw material supplies. The US is just going gangbusters in terms of corralling their own antimony supply, and they've only got one deposit, and we're, of course, very close in strategic metal supply. So that will also help build this project, making it a critical metal project, even though the gold will be ideally, potentially, because we've got no economics around this, so I can't say anything other than those words. But the gold will be the key element here, or the key metal, but the antimony will be a part. And it's been an antimony mine in the past, ahead of a gold mine, as Fosterville is. And Fosterville's, the fifth largest antimony mine, the highest grade in the world today. So Victoria will be a key part of that strategic supply going forward.
Is the antimony going to help offset the costs as well, as a I guess a byproduct?
I mean, again, no economic studies, but it will be if the past has any reflection on the future in this deposit and the analogues that are Fosterville has been variably a gold deposit to an antimony deposit, depending on metal price. So yes, it can have a huge influence.
Quick question for you. You said 2 rigs on site, 3 crews going, so you're increasing the amount of drilling that you're doing. How deep do you think that this deposit could go? Because I think you said you've gone down to about 400 meters at the moment.
These things go to great depths, and that's what Victoria has shown before. And it's really a limitation on how far we want to try and chase it necessarily, that the system will have a natural depth. Both Fosterville and Fosterville have got better at around 700 to 800 metres. That's where they've seen their improvements come in the system. We're only at 400 metres to date. They're mining deeper in Fosterville. So absolutely the down plunge direction is absolutely open, but our opportunity lies probably 80% in the near surface mineralisation over that 10-kilometre trend, and we'll demonstrate the system continues by putting some deep holes in, but not focusing on that.
Well, Michael Hudson, it's been an interesting journey for you so far, and as you said, just listed 3 months ago, you just getting started. Not bad to have a discovery straight off the bat as well. Michael, we're running out of time. 3 reasons why our beautiful community out there should be sitting up and taking notice of you right now. I think last time it was about the scale and the size. What do you think?
Well, I've thought long and hard, because it's easy to give vanilla answers to your great 3 questions you always end your interviews. But I think the width that we're seeing here in terms of the mineralisation, this isn't thin. The grades are commensurate with some of the best in Victoria, and then the continuity. No good having width and grade if you're not getting the continuity. So the width and grade of this project are impressive. So benchmark that wherever you go. I'm looking at my notes here to make sure I get this right, but the key point also is we have the knowledge in-house to build these systems. We're a team of discoverers. We know that you need to push very quickly, so we're increasing the drill capacity, and you'll still continue to see that. And I wonder if it's a fluke, but we've increased drill capacity by 250%, and our share price is up 250% since IPO. So if we put more rigs, will we continue to see that? In one way, that's a bit of an ironic joke, but the more you drill, the more you find. So that's a key
100%.
point.
Yeah.
And then we've got the dollars. I think in this environment where the markets come off, we've got the dollars over the next year to build and work that strategy that we've just talked about. So we're not going to be limited by dollars.
Michael Hudson, the Managing Director of Southern Cross Gold. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. They are putting the drill bit into the ground. They are finding continuous grade scale. This deposit is open at depth and along strike. It's going to be some interesting times. And as Michael promised us when we last spoke to him, continuous news flow keeps coming from Southern Cross Gold. Go check them out. ASX code is SXG. Michael Hudson, great to see you back on Small Caps. Come back soon.
Will do, Kerry.